Documentation is a very important part of buying real estate in Nigeria. And in today's session, I'll be talking about five very important documents that every real estate investor has to know about. What exactly are these documents? What's the importance? How do you identify them? Who prepares them? Welcome to this session. First is, so let me quickly run us through these five documents and then we get started. So we have the deed of assignment, a deed of conveyance, a deed of sublease, a contract of sale, and a survey plan. All these documents are very important if you're investing in real estate. And I'll start with the first one, which is a deed of assignment. So just as the name says, it's a deed that assigns. What does it assign? It assigns ownership of property. So I own a property and I'm selling it to you. I'm assigning all my ownership rights in that property to you. That's what we mean by deed of assignment. Now, the law is clear that when you are transferring ownership of property, it has to be by a deed. That's why you will see that I've talked about three types of deed: deed of conveyance, deed of sublease, deed of assignment. All right. A deed of assignment effectively makes you the owner of the property. So when you buy a property, until you have a deed of assignment that has effectively transferred ownership to you, you don't own that property. That is to underscore the importance of this document. All right. Now, a deed of assignment, when you are buying real estate, it's the document that shows that transfers ownership to you. So when you make payment, you get your lawyer. For you as the buyer, you get your lawyer to draft it for you. It has several clauses that has to be there. It's just like you make a pot of jollof rice. There are ingredients that has to be there for it to be jollof rice and not fried rice or white rice. It's the same thing. There are clauses that has to be in that document that make it what it is. All right. So that's for a deed of assignment. So it's important that you know that is what makes you the owner, and it is drafted by the buyer's lawyer. And you have to ensure that all the parties sign, the seller signs, the buyer signs, and then you have become the owner of that property. All right. Now we go to the next document, which is a deed of sublease. And just like the name states, it means a deed where I'm subletting my interest to you. And it is typically used where there's a lease. So let's say, for instance, I've leased property to you, but I allow you to sublet it to other people, and then you now sublease the property to other people. But I have seen instances where rights in or of ownership in property are also assigned through deed of lease. All right. So, for instance, I've seen in some instances where some lawyers will draft, some of my learned colleagues will draft an agreement that is assigning the rights in a certificate of occupancy. You know that the certificate of occupancy gives you right to occupy the land for 99 years. So because it has a certain time frame, so they use the deed of sublease to then assign to you the rest of the remainder of the time that you have to occupy the land. But basically, here's what you need to know. How do you want to know the difference between a sublease that is subletting a property to you and a sublease that is actually giving you the remainder of the term of the certificate of occupancy? It's a lawyer that can answer that question. So if you are in doubt about a document that you have and you're wondering, okay, does this really effectively gives me ownership, or is this subleasing to me, or I'm not really clear about this, then you need to talk to a lawyer to review that deed for you. Now, closely related to this first two documents is a deed of conveyance, and it is oftentimes used interchangeably for a deed of assignment. So it effectively does the same thing. It's conveying ownership rights. So I own a property. I'm selling to you. I'm giving you all the rights of ownership that I have. I'm conveying it to you. So we have a deed of conveyance. All right. Just like I said, it's the same thing. It's usually drafted by the buyer's lawyer. And if you have any of these documents and you're wondering, okay, so how do I really know which one is which? Does this suffice for the purpose that I think that I have it? Then you want to get a lawyer to review it, because it is definitely the clauses in there that makes the document what it is. Now, another document is very important is a contract of sale. So a contract of sale is basically a contract showing that property has been sold. And I'm sure you're probably wondering, okay, Tosin, you're confusing me. You talked about one transferring ownership to me, that one is a deed. And then hold on, I will explain. So the thing is, the law is very clear, and when it comes to documents, the law would interpret the document strictly as it is. So a document is a contract of sale. It does not make you the owner, because it's not saying, okay, you have paid for this certain property, the details of the property, the details of payments, all right, and several other details that are important. So, for instance, if you're buying a property and paying in installments, when you make the first installment, the owner is not going to transfer ownership to you because you've not finished payment. So, what they would do is that your lawyer will draft a contract of sale, and the seller is going to sign that contract of sale, saying, okay, you have made payment for this so and so property, 5 bedroom detached duplex as Victory Estate in Lagos, and you've made maybe a 50% installment, and you're going to do the 15 15, and the other percentages are left in so and so trenches. Maybe you do 15 next month, then the other month you do the next 15 until everything is completed. And this will include details on, okay, if you cannot meet up with payment, what happens? All right, it's going to cover these details, and it's going to contain an undertaking saying that when you finish payment for the property, the seller is bound to sign a deed of assignment for you and give you all the necessary other documents that you need. All right, so that's the difference between a contract of sale and a deed of assignment. A contract of sale simply is to say, yes, we sold this to you, but it doesn't assign ownership to you. It doesn't make you the owner. All right, so that's very, very important. Now, the last but not the least is the survey plan. And I know that a lot of times I literally have to like convince my clients, especially for those who buy houses, to actually survey their property. Now, so a survey shows you the exact location of the property. There's something called coordinates, and it's like a unique identification number for every land, like all over the world. And the survey plan is prepared by a surveyor, not a lawyer, so I have to state that. And essentially, when you buy a property, you should also get a survey plan done in your name. All right, it's very important, it's very key. So today we've talked about deed of assignment, deed of conveyance, deed of sublease, and survey plan. I hope this has been helpful. Feel free to check my channel for more videos like this. And if you have questions, you can click the comment section below and type in your questions. I'll also leave some links to some other helpful videos for you. I'll be leaving a link to a video showing you the step-by-step, your checklist to buying property in Nigeria. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.